Good evening. This is the Apopka Planning Commission meeting on July 9th. It's 5 o'clock. I would like for everyone to stand for a moment of prayer and then followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge my allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all. At this point, I'm going to defer to our city attorney. We do not obviously have a quorum, so, sir, what do you advise?
In order to conduct any business, we do need to have a quorum. All of the items on the agenda tonight are, of course, substantive. I mean, if there's anything to discuss, you can discuss matters, but all the agenda items do require a quorum.
Okay, then with that, then do I entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting?
That is entirely up to you. As chair, you can, that would certainly be appropriate. You can allow a few more minutes or just adjourn now without the quorum. I don't know if there's any word on whether there'll be any other attendees or not.
Aaron?
Yeah, we did get confirmation that we would have a quorum when we scheduled the meeting for 5, but we can maybe wait 5 minutes or so.
Certainly. I do know we are under a time crunch. So, yeah, we'll give consideration for another couple minutes.
And Chairman, if you prefer, we could just, it's at your leisure, certainly could just recess while we're waiting if you would prefer.
Okay, then I make a motion that we will go into recess for about 5 minutes.
Okay.
We have a quorum now.
Okay, we have the arrival of Commissioner Mock. Thank you, sir. So we now have a quorum. So it is the custom at these meetings that we provide the community an opportunity to ask any questions pertaining to any matter that's not on the agenda. So that's first up. So if you would like to do that, you need to come forward, declare your name and address, and then make your comment within a couple minutes, and then we move to the agenda. So with that, is there anyone who would like to make a public comment about anything? And it pertains to the city of Apopka, of course. Well, if not, then we will go to the agenda. The first thing we have on the agenda is, excuse me, please come forward, sir.
Albert McKinney, 3603 Golden Gem Road. At a recent meeting, we were informed that there was going to be work done in Golden Gem Road. My question is, to the best of my recollection, there was an agreement that was called the Pioneering Agreement. And the Pioneering Agreement specifically identified Golden Gem Road as being out with the category of doing the roadworks. Last City Hall meeting, we were told that Golden Gem was now included. But I went back and looked at Jacob Schumer's remarks, and he was the lawyer who at that particular time was corrected by Pam when he said it was going to be included. So there's a little bit of consternation in my mind as to whether or not Golden Gem Road is part of the Pioneering Agreement. If there were changes made, when was it noted there was changes made? Because my recollection is it had to be voted on by the commissioners to adopt that resolution. Has there been changes? Was it voted on? Where are we?
Thank you for your comment. Are there any other questions from the audience? Okay, then if not, we'll go to the first agenda item. That would be a ordinance number 3052, small-scale future land use amendment pertaining to 1400 Kelly Park Road.
Mr. Vice Chair, before you start that, the approval of minutes. You overlooked that.
Okay, sorry. Commissioners, we have all received the minutes for the previous meeting. Are there any comments or corrections to be noted?
No, sir.
Then if not, I will accept the motion to accept the minutes.
What was that date for those minutes?
The minutes was for the
I want to make sure I got the right ones.
previous council meeting, which was Did you say there are no minutes? Okay.
Okay.
All right, then there are no minutes to approve. So, moving on, now that our chairperson has arrived, I will defer the responsibility of this meeting to him. Welcome.
Thank you, sir. My apologies. All right. All right. We're on item 1.
Yes.
All right. Item 1, ordinance number 3052, small scale future land use amendment. Owners Michael A. Gentiles, Desmond W. Street. Applicant Jose Chavez. Location 1400 West Kelly Park Road. Mr. Song.
Good evening, this is Jinson Planner 2. This is a future land use amendment request for the property located at 1400 West Kelly Park Road. The subject property was annexed on March 20th, 2024 and is currently zoned as a T with a future land use of in progress. Applicant has requested to change its future land use to RVLS residential very low suburban, which allows for 2 dwelling units per acre. The property is surrounded by future land use of residential very low suburban and residential estate. The Development Review Committee has recommended approval, and the recommended motion is to recommend approval of the future land use amendment of 1400 West Kelly Park Road. Planning staff are here to respond to any question.
Thank you. Does anyone have questions of staff?
No.
I do.
All right,
I've got a couple of questions.
Mr. Mott.
In reading through the packet in relation to this 3052 and 3053, essentially some of the stuff in the packet, same thing. It talks about school capacity, and it talks about Orange County Public Schools, and currently it talks about the elementary and middle school. They're okay with that, but they said their high school level they're not available. What high school, if this is approved, what high school do kids in high school age go to from this location?
So the applicant has requested the school capacity of the so the capacity for high school was denied, but however, the applicant has shared the email that's saying that the capacity of surrounding school area can be shared with the Apopka High School. So in future, that issue will be handled per applicant. So yeah.
I know there's planning in the future for a high school out in that direction. My second question was related to the response regarding FDOT and the entrance and exit and that kind of thing. And the wording basically talks about that it's impossible to construct a turn lane meeting the minimum FDOT requirements for this property if it's approved, etc., and that type of thing. My question is, looking at the maps where this property is located, it appears that several of the properties are very similar in dimension and size. So my question is, how would Development Review Committee handle if by chance these other properties were sold and asked to be developed in the same manner? Because now all of a sudden, I realize 2 dwelling units per acre, and that. Now all of a sudden you've got 30, 40 homes in a very, very narrow space.
So the applicants already aware of it, and the planning and other DRC committee members already aware of it. That's something we're gonna review deeply in later step for the development plans. As for this rezoning, that is not an issue for rezoning, but applicant has been constantly contact to like our former transportation planner, or now we will figure it out how that will be handled. Do you want to add something to that comment? Yeah.
Good evening, members of the board. Jose Chavez, Storybook Development Services. So I hear your concern, right? There's multiple parcels along that corridor that share the same width that may very likely be developed in similar form. For us, we're restricted by our frontage on Kelly Park Road.
We have to have a wide enough entrance to allow a turning radius for vehicles to make a safe movement. Through engineering, we can consider, expanding the pavement to put some sort of taper for deceleration. However, we couldn't, I think the answer you're referring to is that we can't support a minimum turn lane. I think it's more left on city planning staff and your transportation planning crew to see if, maybe a speed reduction in that corridor would be in order to help facilitate the residential development that's needed for that area. But as far as what we can do is just make sure that turning movement into our site is made as safely as possible with the limited space available.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Any more questions of staff?
No, sir.
Any questions of the applicant? Seeing none, we'll move on. Anyone from the public wish to speak on this matter? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the board for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to find a proposed change of future land use designation from county rural to city RVLS, residential very low suburban, consistent with the comprehensive plan and land development code and compatible with the character of the surrounding areas, recommending approval of the proposed change of future land use based on the findings and facts presented in the staff reports and exhibits.
Thank you, Commissioner Stanley. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner Ryan. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2, ordinance number 3053, change of zoning, 1400 West Kelly Park Road. As this is quasi judicial, would have to ask if any of the members of the board have had ex parte communication on this matter.
No.
No.
Right. Owners: Michael A. Gentiles, Desmond W. Street. Applicant Jove Chavez. Location 1400 West Kelly Park Road. Mr. Song.
This is a rezoning request for the same property located at 1400 West Kelly Park Road. The property is currently zoned as a T transition with the future land use of improgressive. The applicant has requested to change its zoning to residential single-family 1A, which allows three dwelling units per acre. The property is surrounded by zoning RSF 1A, RCE, Residential County Estate, and PD Plan Development. Development Review Committee has recommended approval, and the recommended motion is recommend approval of the rezoning of 1400 West Kelly Park Road. Planning staff and applicant are here to respond to any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Song. Any questions of staff? Anyone from the public wish to speak on this matter? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the board for a motion.
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman, find a proposed change of zoning from T transitional to RSF-1A residential single-family estate district consistent with the comprehensive plan and development code and compatible with the character of the surrounding areas. Recommend approval of the proposed change of zoning based on the findings and facts presented in the staff report and exhibits.
Thank you, Commissioner Stanley. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Washington. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 3. Ordinance number 3058, small scale future land use amendment, 357 West 4th Street. Owners SFL Partners LLC and JFJ Real Investments LLC. Applicant Albert Iglesias. Location 347 West 4th Street. Ms. Sanchez.
Jean Sanchez with the Community Development Department. This is a request to recommend approval of the proposed change of future land use for 357 West 4th Street from County Rural to City Industrial. The subject property is located east of Bradshaw Road, north of 4th Street, and west of Hawthorne Avenue. It's approximately 1.97 acres in size. The applicant is requesting the amendment of the future land use of the property to allow light industrial development. The applicant's proposed amendment, future land use designation allows a maximum floor area ratio of 0.6 per acre, by the comprehensive plan and is consistent with the proposed zoning of light industrial and compatible with the surrounding areas. The properties to the north and west have a future land use designation of industrial, while properties to the east and south are in unincorporated Orange County with the future land use designation of low medium. The DRC recommends approval. The recommended motion is to recommend approval of the future land use amendment from county rural to city industrial. Staff is available for questions.
Thank you, Ms. Sanchez. Anyone have questions of staff?
I have a question.
I do.
All right,
Go ahead.
Commissioner Washington.
The street, West Fourth Street, is not too wide. Is there like a residential street? So with this light industrial use, any idea how much traffic will be put on that street?
We don't have a transportation or a traffic study for this just yet. We require it at the development review stage. So it's possible that whatever development goes there, they'd have to make some off-site improvements.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Ms. Sanchez, in the packet,
Hang on, hang on.
oh, I'm sorry.
Commissioner Ryan.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Commissioner
Oh, I'm
Mott.
sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry.
In the packet, I see where they're requesting light industrial, okay? But then in the packet, it talks about a question where it addresses a demonstrated community need, and the applicant's response was housing is in critical shortage across the nation, especially in Central Florida. Are they intending to build housing, or is they intending to do light industrial?
No,
Just a
no,
typo
sir.
or-
That was mistakenly and inadvertently left on
Okay.
there. Apologies for that.
Hey,
Staff will correct the staff report for City Council.
all right, thank you.
It's a great answer to a question that wasn't asked. Okay. Anyone else have questions?
I'd
of
say
staff?
so.
All right. Is the applicant here and do they have a presentation?
No, sir. The applicant's not present.
All righty. Anyone from the public wish to speak on this matter? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the board for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to find the proposed future land use amendment from county rural to city industrial consistent with the comprehensive plan and land development code and compatible with the character of the surrounding areas. Recommend approval of the proposed future land use amendment based on findings and facts presented in the staff report and exhibits.
Thank you, Commissioner Washington. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Mott. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Ordinance number 3059, change of zoning, same address, 357 West 4th Street. As this is quasi judicial, I will have to ask if any of the board members had ex parte communication on this matter.
No.
No. No, sir.
Owners, SFL Partners LLC, JFJ Real Investments LLC, applicant Albert Iglesias, location 357 West 4th Street. Ms. Sanchez.
For the record, Jean Sanchez with the Community Development Department. This is the accompanying rezoning application request for 357 West 4th Street, proposing to change the zoning designation from County R2 Residential District to City IL Light Industrial. The applicant is requesting to amend the zoning district for the subject property to IL Light Industrial to allow light industrial uses. The properties to the north and west have a zoning district designation of IL, while properties to the east and south are in unincorporated Orange County with zoning designations of County R2 Residential District. The DRC recommends approval. The recommended motion is to recommend approval of the proposed change of zoning. Staff is available for questions.
Thank you, Ms. Sanchez. Anyone have questions of staff? All right. Anyone from the public here wish to speak on this matter? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the board for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion, find the proposal change of zoning from County R2 Residential District to City IL Light Industrial consistent with the comprehensive plan and the land development code and compatible with the character of the surrounding areas. Recommend approval of the proposed change of zoning based on the findings and facts presented in the staff report and exhibits.
Thank you, Commissioner Mott. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Stanley. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Ordinance number 3064, small scale future land use amendment. Owners, Trinity Baptist Church of Apopka. Applicant, Thomas Skelton. Location, 996 and 1000 South Orange Blossom Trail. Mr. Song.
This is June's own planner too. This is a future land use amendment request for the properties located at 996 and 1000 South Orange Blossom Trail. The total size of the property is about 7 acres. The applicant has requested a future land use amendment of these properties from residential, medium, and commercial to institutional and public use for the potential expansion of the existing churches at 1022 South Orange Blossom Trail. The land use of surrounding properties are commercial, institutional, public use, and residential low. DRC has recommended approval, and the recommended motion is to recommend approval of the future land use amendment of 996 and 1000 South Orange Blossom Trail. Sorry. Planning staff and applicant are here to respond to any questions.
Thank you. Does anyone have questions of staff?
No.
Is the applicant here and do they have a presentation? All right. Does anyone from the public wish to speak on this matter? Please come forward. Your name and address for the record, please.
My name's Monica Slider. I'm part of the Hills manufactured community that buffers up to this property. I don't have the address in front of me. What is it? 1100. Roger Williams, sorry. We are a manufactured housing community that buffer up to Trinity. Our concern is we're a 55 plus community. We have no complaint about the church at all. We work very well with them, but we would like a privacy fence put down that area so these 55 plus community people don't see the children in this church area. So they have their privacy behind their yards. This buffers up to their backyards.
Okay. The property that we are addressing here, does it abut your community?
Yes, it does.
Okay, towards the rear?
Yes. The back of homes all the way down one street.
Okay, I understand. All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Is anyone else here from the public wish to speak on this matter? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the board for a motion.
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman, to find a proposed amendment of the future land use map from residential, medium, and commercial to institutional public use consistent with the comprehensive plan and land development code compatible with the character of surrounding areas, and recommend approval of the future land use map amendment based on the findings and facts presented in the staff report and exhibits.
Thank you, Commissioner Stanley. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner Ryan. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Ordinance number 3065, change of zoning, 996 and 1000 South Orange Blossom Trail. As this is quasi judicial, I will have to ask if anyone on the board had ex parte communication on this matter.
No.
Very well. Applicant, owners, Trinity Baptist Church of Apopka. Applicant, Thomas Skelton. Location, 996 and 1000 South Orange Blossom Trail. Ms. Sanchez. Oh, sorry, Ms. Song.
This is June's own planner too. This is a rezoning request of the same properties located at 996 and 1000 South Orange Blossom Trail. The applicant has requested a rezoning of these properties from RSF 1B and CC Community Commercial to Office for the expansion of the existing church at 1022 South Orange Blossom Trail. The zoning of the surrounding properties are CC Community Commercial, MHP Mobile Home Park, and O Office. Development Review Committee has recommended approval, and the recommended motion is to recommend approval of the future land use amendment. Approval of rezoning of 996 and 1000 South Orange Blossom Trail. Planning applicant are here to respond to any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Song. Do we have any questions of staff?
No, sir.
Have any questions of the applicant?
No, sir.
Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak on this matter? Very well. Bring it back to the board for a motion.
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman, to find a proposed change of zoning from CC Community Commercial and RSF 1B Residential Single Family Large Lot to O Office, consistent with the Comprehensive Plan and Land Development Code and compatible with the character of the surrounding areas, recommending approval of proposed change of zoning based on the findings and facts presented in the staff report and exhibits.
Thank you, Commissioner Stanley. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Mott. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Right. Site plans. 1700 West Keene Road wall variance. As this is quasi-judicial, I will have to ask if any members of the board had ex parte communication on this matter.
No.
Very well. Owners, LCE 13 LLC, applicant Brian Potts, location 1700 West Keene Road. Mr. Howe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, Bobby Howell, Planning Manager. The applicant is requesting variance from Land Development Code Section 5511, retaining walls to allow maximum height for a retaining wall up to 12 feet in lieu of the 6-foot height maximum requirement for proposed non-residential development located at 1700 West Keene Road. The applicant is requesting the variance to permit an FDOT, Florida Department of Transportation approved wall system as required by the Public Services Department. According to the applicant, the site has 36 feet of fall from the northeast corner to the south end of the development. Tiered 6-foot walls would not be safer or improve the final project. The applicant has submitted a major development plan detailing site construction with this wall system. So the variance, approval of the variance is contingent upon the major development plan going through. Per the Land Development Code, the Planning Commission shall make an initial determination as noted as the 3 criteria on the screen. Once an initial determination has been reached, a variance shall only be approved on a finding that applicant demonstrates there is competent substantial evidence on the 9 variance criteria, which are on the screen here. And the Planning Commission's decision shall be one of the following: approval of the variance, approval of the variance subject to modification and or conditions, or denial of the variance. That's the conclusion of the staff presentation. The Public Services Department is here to answer any technical questions about the wall, and I believe the applicant is here as well.
Thank you, Mr. Howe. Does anyone have questions of staff?
Yes.
Commissioner Ryan.
Can we go over the hardships?
I'm sorry?
Can we go over the hardships for the variance?
Yeah, the applicant is contending that they have too much fall on the road, on the site. So that's the hardship.
Too much what?
Fall. There's 36 feet of fall. So you have 36 foot here that goes down like that. That's how the site is laid out. So you have to build retaining walls. So the hardship is, in their attestation is that the 12-foot wall, if we had the tiered walls, it basically would be a hardship to do that. And they're using a Florida Department of Transportation wall system, which the Public Services Department has approved. And a variance was granted at the property to the north, the shops at East Shore, by the Planning Commission.
And have we done anything similar to this in the city of Apopka?
Yes, the property to the north had a variance granted to that. The shops at East Shore.
I believe the Publix we did too.
The public site, yeah, that's the shops at East Shore.
Thank you.
All right. Any more questions?
No.
Thank Thank you, Mr. Howe. Is the applicant here and do they have a presentation?
Good evening, P&Z Board. John Schmid with JW Square Development. We're the developers on the project. I know we checked all the boxes on the variance process, but there's one issue that's not really highlighted in there. When this process originally started, the city staff made us aware that they didn't obtain right away from the industrial property across the street. So they've actually come and requested 30 feet from us, which really took our original plan and pushed it to the back. So that, you asked about a hardship, that really is where the majority of our hardship came from. Not only do we have the 36-foot fall, but we were asked to give up 30 feet at the front of our property. And that, I think, made feasible for the radius on the new intersections that's going in, coming from Keene to Apopka, and kind of made up for the fact they didn't get the right of way from the property across the street. So that's kind of a little bit that was left off of that.
Thank you, sir. Does anyone have questions of the applicant?
I do. The
Commissioner Washington.
the other property that you're referring to, is that off of Apopka Road or Keene?
Apopka, it's the industrial street across the street from this, the two new industrial buildings.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Anyone else have questions of the applicant? Very well. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Does anyone from the public wish to speak on this matter? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the board for a motion.
Is it on the screen? Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve, provide approval for the variance.
Motion by Commissioner Washington. Thank you, sir. Do I have a second?
Okay.
Second by Commissioner Ryan. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Major Development Plan, owners LCE 13 LLC. This is quasi judicial, so I will have to ask, has anyone from the board had any ex parte communication on this matter?
No.
Very well. Applicant Brian Potts, PE, location 1700 West Keene Road. Mr. Howe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Once again, for the record, Bobby Howell, Planning Manager. This is the major development plan that accompanied the variance that you just approved. This is a major development plan for 13 buildings totaling 61,928 square feet. It's comprised of retail, office, commercial, and medical uses. The property is located at 1700 West Keene Road and is approximately 18.8 acres in size. About 7.99 acres of the site consist of wetlands and Lake Carter. An upland buffer with a minimum of 15 feet. A 25-foot average is provided adjacent to the wetland system, which is required per our comprehensive plan. The site will be accessed via two access points, full access points on Apopka Road. A 30-foot right-of-way dedication is reserved along the portion of the property abutting Apopka Road for future road widening of Apopka Road, and is what the applicant was just referring to. A total of 350 parking spaces are provided on site. Stormwater is proposed to be discharged into a pond located on the southern portion of the site. The development and this architectural elevations that were submitted by the applicant of how the buildings will look. The Development Review Committee recommends approval, and the recommended motion this evening is to recommend approval of the major development plan. Staff and the applicant are here for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Howe. Anyone have questions of staff? Commissioner Ryan.
Okay. Where are the EV charging stations?
Those are not on the plan, but that is required per state law, so those will be required to be noted on the construction site plan going forward.
So we'll get a chance to approve that?
Yes. No, the construction site plan does not come back to the Planning Commission. The major development plan is the thing that comes to the City Commission and the City Council, or Planning Commission and the City Council. But we will require the EV charging stations on the construction site plans.
Okay. Well, as you know, people with disabilities are entitled to equal access to public areas. So there's going to have to be an EV charging station with ADA compliance.
We will require that for the construction site plan.
So basically, there's going to have to be at least 3 EV charging stations, correct?
Yes, I think the state law is 2. EV stations, if I remember correctly. State statute requires 2,
Yeah, the 2 plus 1 plus the third one for accessibility.
and we will require that for the construction site plan.
Okay.
Anyone else have questions of staff?
No, sir.
Anyone have questions of the applicant? Very well. Is there anyone from the public wish to speak on this matter? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the board for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd recommend approval of the 1700 West Keene Road Major Development Plan.
Thank you, Commissioner Mott. Motion by Commissioner Mott. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Washington. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Do we have any old business? Any new business?
No, sir.
Very well. Meeting adjourned.